What's going on, guys? Welcome back. And today I'm just going to be giving you my quick thoughts on Wonder Woman 1984 and Soul. So, I know these movies are kind of starkly different, although their kind of main message and moral is somewhat similar by the end of it. If you really think about it, I mean, not really, but kind of. I know I'm a little bit late on this, but, just been celebrating holidays, Christmas, New Year with family, so haven't had as much time recently, but I just wanted to give my thoughts on these movies, because I have seen them, and there may end up being spoilers in this video. I am not setting out with the intention to spoil the films, but I may end up talking about things that you may consider to be spoilery, so you have been warned. Let's start with Wonder Woman 1984. So, Wonder Woman 1984. Now, going into this movie, I did not really have high expectations. I thought the trailers looked kind of bad. Like, the first trailer back in 2019 was actually pretty cool. I was like, ooh, I wonder what's gonna go down here. Like, it looked kind of interesting because we didn't know too much about it. But then going into 2020, every trailer following that one kind of lessened my excitement for it. It looked worse and worse with every bit of promotional material they put out, and I'm happy to say that I did enjoy it, at least to some extent, although I'm still somewhat indifferent about it. I did not prefer it to the first Wonder Woman. I'll just say that right out of the gate. I did not prefer this to the first Wonder Woman from 2017. That movie the pacing in the first movie worked way better, and it warranted a long runtime, but just like the movie as a whole just had a lot of plot holes. Like, this villain character played by Pedro Pascal, who's not really a villain, he's just kind of a misguided soul. He just kind of knows about this artifact in the movie that's kind of this MacGuffin plot device, and it doesn't really make sense how he knows about it. Certain characters' motivations by the end don't really line up. Like, they don't really, like, by the end of it, like, each character kind of sticks to their morals. Like, Diana, Wonder Woman, of course, has to kind of, she has to stick to her morals and stick to herself. And it kind of, challenges all of our main characters, it challenges them in certain ways, like our heroes, our villains. This kind of MacGuffin plot device kind of challenges our heroes. The moral question of the film is, like, will you let your desires overtake what is truly important in your life? And in some ways, I think the film was successful at getting that message across, because I think the Pedro Pascal element with his son was really well handled, and by the end of it, I kind of teared up a little bit. Like, it was actually kind of powerful, and they were going for a lot of poignant themes in this movie, but I don't think they entirely pulled all of them off. There were definitely good ideas and honorable themes, like things that I recognize are actually very mature and themes that I think are warranted. Like, these are warranted to be explored in something, but there's a lot of plot holes and just contrivances, and just the structure of it doesn't really work. Like, the introduction, the film starts, we get introduced to our protagonist, our antagonists, and our character dynamics. And it felt fun for, the first, 45 minutes to an hour. And then it just felt like it kind of went off the rails. Like, random, events happen out of sequence, just random events. And that's kind of the point of the film, but the structure didn't really work, and it didn't work as well as the first one. And it just feels like certain parts of the movie did not need to be extended or expanded upon as much as they were. And certain elements did warrant to be expanded upon more, but just weren't, if that makes sense. Like, I'm trying to not spoil all the main twists and turns and stuff, although I feel like most stuff that is kind of spoilery you can kind of already get from the trailers. It wasn't really the movie I was expecting. I appreciate that the 1980s weren't just a prop, like a setting to put the movie in. Like, they actually did contribute to the movie, and events that happened in that time period did play into the plot and certain elements of the story, which I did appreciate. And by the end of it, I think the third act did work better than the first film, because the first film, it had these really interesting themes, and then at the end, it kind of throws them away for a giant CGI fight at the end. And I appreciated that the way this film ends is not a giant CGI fight, sorry. Although it does have a fight, it wasn't just like a big dumb CGI fight. Like, there was actually real morals there, and the film stuck to its morals all the way through until the finale, and it ended on a quiet note. It didn't end on this big epic note. Although it is very epic and it's packaged in that way, it did end in a manner that was kind of small scale when you really consider it in like the long term. I hope you guys get what I'm saying. But I did think the finale was better handled in this film than in the first film. I thought it was really well handled, and I got kind of emotional. I think it was well handled towards the end, but like, the end and the beginning I thought were well handled, but just the middle chunk of the movie was way too long. It just felt like it kept going on, and it was like it was longer than the first film, and it didn't really warrant that. I don't feel like this film warranted its runtime. It wasn't good enough, and the story didn't need all this runtime. I feel like at multiple points in the film, we could have shaved off like 10 to 15 minutes and make it around the same length as the first film, but as is, I'm really indifferent about it because I'm just starting to lose my enthusiasm and anticipation for superhero films. They're just not my thing anymore, and like Star Wars has piqued my interest currently with Mandalorian and all this stuff, but like just the superhero genre right now just hasn't been interesting me, and this is just another example of that. I'm really indifferent about it. There are certain aspects that I think were good, but none of them really top the first film. Even the themes, despite sticking to its themes throughout the entire film, I don't think they were really better than the themes in the first movie, although the first movie did not execute them as well as this film did in its finale, if that makes sense. But yeah, as is, Wonder Woman 1984, I didn't have huge expectations going in, and thus it didn't really have any expectations to live up to. So it was a fine time waster, and it was watchable and entertaining, but by the end of it, there were themes present that were interesting, but it didn't really leave me feeling anything, which is the opposite to the next film we're going to talk about, which is Soul, which really made me feel a lot of things, and Soul was an excellent movie. I haven't been the biggest fan of Pixar movies of late, like the past couple of years. I think this is probably the best Pixar film since Coco, which I just loved. I thought that film was fantastic. And since then, we had Incredibles 2, which I wasn't the biggest fan of. I didn't really love that movie that much. And then we had Toy Story 4, which, to be fair, was watchable and entertaining in its own right, but I don't think it quite lived up to the highs of the other three movies, or at least some of the highs of the other three movies. I don't think it was quite as good as the three preceding it. Like the three before it, I don't think Toy Story 4 was as good as 1, 2, and 3. And then we had Onward earlier this year, which I did find entertaining, and there were some nice themes present, but as discussed in a video I made earlier this year, I didn't love it. So we've got Soul, and it comes along, and I wasn't really anticipating it. It was just kind of like a little blue guy movie, and I was like, oh my god, that looks bad. It looks like Inside Out, which I didn't really like that much. And it really had a lot of honorable themes in it, and I really need to watch it again to comprehend all of it. But it's just, it's a well-constructed movie, well-paced, much better paced than Wonder Woman 1984. And it's just like, it's just a really nice movie to watch. Like, it came at the perfect time, I've heard people saying, and that's true. At this time of year, usually this is a time of celebration and happiness, and, this year has just put a wrench in the works, right? So just to have this movie come along being so hopeful and just nice, and it's just like, obviously the animation looks beautiful. It's Pixar. The animation was great. I really liked the main character. I thought he was just really charming. Voiced by, I believe, Jamie Foxx. So, and just certain aspects of it, like the fact that his passion is music, and that, that's one of my passions. Like, I am or was a part of a choir. I'm a part of multiple music groups. Like, I'm a music person, so the fact that his passion was music was able to help me connect to that character that little bit more. And, it was just a really nice movie. I just really liked it. Maybe because his passion was music, it allowed me to connect to him a little bit more. But I think this is one of the best Pixar movies in a while. I need to really watch it again to comprehend all of it and really digest all the messages in it. But it was a really nice movie and a really nice way to end off the year. and the best Pixar movie since Coco, I think. I don't know if it was as good as Coco, but it was a damn good movie, and I really liked Soul. So that's pretty much it on my thoughts on Wonder Woman 1984 and Soul. Soul was great, and Wonder Woman I'm just really indifferent about. Like I said, I didn't really have any expectations for it, and I found it watchable, and there were some things that you can take away from it, but it just wasn't really that impressive to me. But Soul was a very heartwarming, fun movie that I just really loved. So, yeah, you guys, please let me know your thoughts on these movies. Which movie did you like more, Wonder Woman 1984 or Soul? And what did you think of my quick thoughts on both these movies? Please let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. And, of course, as always, I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.